Welcome to Musical Tanks, where we're going to winch some tanks and drive some tanks, all whilst making lots of noise. So our first job is to move the Centurion Avery. She doesn't run just yet, we haven't got around to that. And also we managed to trap the gearbox like down there somewhere. Shouldn't be able to put that in yet. So we'll winch that back to there, so then we can get the Centurion gun tank out, because she's blocking her in. Then we've got a Sultan to move, a Fox to get out of the way, so we can get a Chieftain in here. Let's get the CET and the winch out. Okay. Right, that's the CET in position, so we'll get the winch line out now, and then we'll show you how we're going to winch it. So we've got the winch rope coming out of the CET, come out through the front, and if we then follow it all the way to the Avery, pull it quickly, just see it come to us. See it come to a snatch block. The reason done that is the CET's winch is quite a fast winch, so we can half its speed using a snatch block. The load rating is 8 ton on the winch, and a Centurion on flat concrete with no gearbox fitted is 4 ton on hush puppies. Throw in a quarter safety factor, you know, we're well and truly in. So we don't need the snatch block to increase the capacity of the winch, we just want to slow it down. So what we can do is we can get Josh to start paying in. So we select low gear, right, if you start paying in, you'll see that the winch line is now going back in. What we want to do is make sure there's no tangles, and just watch it feed round that snatch block and make sure we seat correctly in there. Whoa. Ready when you are, winch in. Even that's with the safety factor. now in position, let's have a look at the gun tank and show you our Sen gun tank. Let's get that out of the shed. 09 BB33 is a Mark 13. And in my opinion, the best 13 there is out there. Though she's got a couple of battle scars at the front from a car crash, which we're not doing anymore. I'm going to start tearing cars in half for Armourfest. So here she is. She's tucked behind a combat at the minute. 120mm recoilless rifle, anti-tank gun. Tucked beside that we've got a 105 pack howitzer, another Meteor and a Sen gearbox. So we're going to get this out of the shed. We've got some potato boxes to go behind it, some nice storage boxes to go behind.
What we were meant to be filming today was this driving out. It hasn't started. She's been old and grumpy because we left her in the corner all winter. In fact, it's probably, if I climb up, been about 7 months since we started it up last.
Yeah, August.
August, yeah. She came in after our event last August, Armourfest. And
I think I started her up in October maybe though.
Yeah?
Yeah, for a group.
For a group. But it's been a while. It's been a while. Been about, yeah, say August since it last moved. Maybe not quite so long since it started. I just decided not to. Turns over, stinks of fuel. So we've got that. We did have to put some in though. And so the next thing is these things really rely on their booster coil to start. So let's go check that. It's a bit dark in here, but I will try my best to show.
Hello.
Huh?
I said hello.
Yeah, hello. So this side magneto, which is the exhaust one. There's the lead in the middle. I think we've mentioned boost coil leads before. On an early Centurion, it's actually quite easy to get to. It's just where those two bits are. Filters for the ignition actually. On this one, being a later, it's a bit more annoying because it's pretty much in the same place, just the wrong side of the bulkhead there. So I've pulled that bullet there is a 24 volt feed to it. If I then get a multimeter and hold one end on there, I don't quite know how to pop you so you can see earth probe in that hole, and then I can help you. So if you give that a little flick on the old voltage,
switch on.
yeah,
Ignition on. Make sure it's yeah, ready?
yeah. That time I got power, I believe. The probe fell off, hang on. So you saw we actually did get voltage out of that lead, but not as much as we were expecting. And plugging him in, it didn't feel like the booster coil was doing much. Let's try and unplug him again. Or not. But I say, so that lead to undo, that one that goes down to the magneto, and then if I want to pass you around, he's there. There should just be 2 bolts that mount that on. Got him there. Yep. Kind of one this side, one up on top. So let's go grab us some tools, whip that off, and get it to a bench. So, that is booster coil off. So the two bolts that mount it, and the 2 leads. Before we get to the bench though, we're going to be pulling the switchboard out. So put that down. I'll bring you with me. The Centurion is definitely a little bit awkward to climb up, especially with the full track guard on. There's the switchboard there. So I need to grab a socket probably to undo the mounting bolts, 2 each side, and then I've got a load of plugs. They are actually still labelled, so we have had this out before, and I've still got the label and all the plugs from then, and all the cables. Luckily, because this is quite a late one, so I think it was 7s onward, has this style electric system on them. So everything still plugs. Say early ones, so you've got the red box, a lot of them hardwire in, so you've got to then take the box out, open the box up to get the wires out. Luckily we don't. So it's a case of I'll slide myself in, start unplugging stuff and get it out and take that over to the bench as well.
We've got the booster coil out, and we've got power from our jump pack on tracks. What's happening is our points are not vibrating, so we're getting that first pulse. If I move it a bit closer, it might try to come out alive, but no. But you see how that's kind of a bit hit and miss, and particularly we're getting a good sharp spark on the first one. In fact, I can move it further away. That's not quite good enough. But Josh can turn the power off now. It gives you guys an opportunity to learn what is a booster coil, what does he do, and what makes him work. So the booster coil is working correctly. What should happen is we should get a constant spark. As a set of points open and shut, open and shut, open and shut, we should keep pretty much a constant spark. And that humming is the points opening and shutting. Because the magnetors don't work particularly well under low speed, this kind of kicks the engine into life. They run particularly retarded, so they actually fire off the top dead centre. Off the top of my head, I think it's about 10 degrees, or 3 or 5, I can't remember, but they fire off the top dead centre, and that's important. Sense starter motors aren't very strong. In fact, they're weak as hell with a little planetary reduction gearbox in them. So if the engine was to kick back, every time, boom, smash the starter motor. So if you start on booster coil, as you bring the mags back to life, it's impossible for it to kick back because the piston's already past top dead centre and going down. It always fires on that power stroke. And if you watch YouTube, and there's a few other channels about the place, they'll tell you don't need booster coils, bugger them off. And they're kind of right, but wrong. Magnetos, as they sit, and depending what position they sit in and depending on where the engine stops, can discharge their and lose their magnetic field. And to get that back, you've seen us do it, and everyone else does it. You get them out and you spin them on a drill. Well, this, if the booster coil's working, this is the same as spinning them on a drill, apart from you ain't got to take them off to do it. It does it itself. And we haven't had the mags off this scent now for years, and there's no need to, because they're a good set of mags, and she's got a booster coil that revives them. And we haven't had this booster coil off in as long as I can remember. I don't ever think it has been off. They last a long time. But this is what they can do over time. So let's fix it. So I thought I'd quickly show you the rotor arm out of the magneto on a Centurion. It's a little bit bigger than most rotor arms. So we've got that contact in the middle here. This is where the booster coil comes in, and he leaves that pole there. And as you can see, that's after the main pole in the middle, which is fed off the magneto up your carbon contact up the middle. So you can really see how retarded they are. That's firing a lot later. So as I undo the last screw, our first job is to undo the insulation, check the insulation around the end of the coil, and make sure we've got no rust in here, which will help it arc across. Rust is present. But as he comes off, you can see that we are arcing under the flare, which is what I expected, really. That's normally caused by damp. So our next step is points. Like any classic thing, it's always points. So in here, we've got a set of points here, which are well and truly welded down. No, they're not welded. And then we've got our condenser. So we'll strip the condenser off and get to the points, and we'll join you back. Just got this stripped out. They're so fiddly and so small.
You can't put meat.
Like, that's a small screwdriver. Look at the size of them. But like points do, points burn away. Now, I think our ignition switch is faulty and the booster coil is hanging on. In fact, I know. When I jumped in it this morning and flicked the ignition on, the booster coil went without us pulling the starter motor, which it should come on with the starter motor. So I know why this has gone. But when they get warm, they burn the points out. In fact, I'll show you on my phone. So Josh is going to get a little bit of, I don't know really, probably the whetstone out. And we've got to flatten them off. We don't want to take too much material off because we want obviously these points to last for a long time. The more we remove, the worse they get. We'll give them a bit of a clean up.
Okay then. So, on phone cam, because phone cam does better close-ups, we've now cleaned up contact. So there's one. So he's now a bit cleaner. And then the other one is there. He's still got a little low spot, but we don't want to take too much off. Because it does shorten the life of the points. So this bit then screws back in, and essentially, so this works by just pulsing up and down. So it's sprung up, so you see if I push on it, you can see when it's tight it will close the contact, and when it's then not tight it's open. And what we've got on the back then is a piece of steel or something of magnetic nature, and then in the middle there is actually a little electromagnet. And as it so magnet turns off, it springs up, makes contact, which then turns magnet on, or magnet is on. So magnet is on, contact goes down, touches this bit on that bit there, which turns magnet off, and then it springs back up, and then as it springs back up, magnet turns back on. So you end up having that oscillate really quickly, which is kind of the buzz these make. You heard the buzzing when we were testing it earlier. That's the magnet turning off and on, and the plate doing that. So it does mean there is no timing on these. I say it points and you're dizzy, driven by a shaft off your camshaft. So these do just buzz away, pulse constantly, which is, so they're not timed. The only timing is done through the rotor arm, and it just buzzes away, and that's constantly going, sparking away, and you end up just getting a spark on a spark plug when it lines up with an outlet, or with one. So they can be a bit poppy and bangy, I say it does, especially as they are massively delayed ignition. So yeah, all the timing is done on the rotor arm on these, and not in the points. So these aren't like a normal coil, because a normal coil, if you replace this with a normal coil, you'd get one spark, and that was it, because it's now just on. Whereas these turn themselves on and off, so constant sparking.
Right, so let's give this a little bit of power and see. So that's when you hear it change note. I think that is working. There's quite an angry spark. I don't feel the need to test it on my finger. Yep, we are happy with that. So we'll put this back together again and then have a look at the driver's jaw switchboard. We've got the back of this box open. We were pretty sure, well, when I first got in the tank, booster coil was coming on with the ignition, which it shouldn't do. The switch didn't feel right, but now it does feel right. So is it actually working? I hate trains, I think. Nice, I can appreciate a nice diesel going roaring past. Right, so booster is here, and my ignition is here.
Yes, the switch.
Yes. Another switch is the multimeter. It needs to be on here. Booster is working. You can also go start motor, and he's not on. With just the ignition on. No. So the switch has fixed itself, which is not really my style. Normally I'd now take it apart and work out why it fixed itself, but at the minute I just need to move the tank. So you will see this again on the workbench, because next time it fails, when we've got a lorry waiting in the yard at like £250 an hour, is what will happen. So we will have this out again, but today it's working. So that's kind of the end of the video. We've got the Centurion out. Next, but let's get the Chieftain back in. Let's get the Chavry turned around and in where that's going to live. Hopefully that'll be Monday this week coming, and then that is mine and Josh's last jobs ready to open, and then we're back full steam workshop. We've got something quite cool coming up as well. Right, thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.